DP-12's sealed archives. Gryffindor interview transcript excerpt DP-12 and KSBK. Security level, Griffin internal confidential. Background information. Incident. Recently, the Griffin and Krieger private military contractor agency, hereafter referred to as Griffin, has undergone internal restructuring in keeping with the organization's humanitarian principles and in order to uphold the spirit of equality. Blank has decided to have all registered employees, including human employees, tactical dolls, and other assimilated units, undergo a one-on-one exit interviews to determine their desired future direction, in order to fully respect each individual's right to self-determination. Interview principles. All interviews will remain strictly confidential and are to be conducted with the relevant dolls on a one-to-one basis. However, after taking into consideration special bonds between certain personnel and strong requests, exceptions have been made to allow squad members or close companions to be present during these interviews. Regardless of the exact format, the confidentiality provision remains unchanged. Any information related to uninvolved personnel or sensitive information will be encrypted or censored. Interview record excerpt, DP-12 and KSBK. Interview subjects, Tactical Doll DP-12, Tactical Doll KSBK. KSBK, so blank really isn't around anymore? I think this is Commander. I apologize, but this subject lies beyond the scope of this interview. I am not authorized to discuss this subject in further detail. How could you? Griffin's always been a warm place. When the Commander was around, we were like a real family. I repeat, this subject lies beyond the scope of this interview. If you insist on pursuing the subject, you will be required to temporarily leave the room, per protocol. Log. Interview was interrupted due to subject KSBK's loss of emotional control. Note, Tactical Doll KSBK temporarily left the room due to an acute stress response. You may step outside if you need to accompany her. However, I would advise against it, from a purely rational standpoint. So, is Griffin's breakup confirmed? From the orders I have received, the relevant processes are currently ongoing. In that case, what should I do to ensure I and Defh will be able to continue working together in the same field? Our job is limited to recording future intentions and not. I am not Defh. Please do not treat me as a clueless child. Or rather, allow me to be more direct. What conditions will Defh and I need to fulfill in order to join the Commander? We have interviewed many dolls so far, but to date, your reaction has been the most surprising. Most dolls either become highly emotional or otherwise refuse to cooperate with us. Of the dolls who did cooperate, very few have so concretely stated their demands as you have. I understand that an individual's abilities are nothing compared to Commander. Therefore, even if I do have a personal objective, I ought to pick a more suitable time and place to pursue it. Don't you agree? Very well. Does that mean you have already decided to find another way then? Commander is no longer around. That means the only thing remaining in Griffin that matters to me now is Defh. But that girl will surely hesitate because of her sense of belonging. In that case, I will supply you with a list of PMCs that are currently recruiting tactical dolls. As for the Commander, you mentioned, recruitment channels are not officially open yet. No, I don't think this is Commander. We'll probably elaborate on this in the future. But even in a place containing so many elite personnel like Griffin, there will not be many openings. I understand. In the end, my results will have to speak for myself. Yes. At this point, I would like to discuss KSBK's file with you. Due to certain reasons, she initially entered service as a caretaker doll and was employed by a sanatorium. After that, she was purchased by you for unknown reasons. Following which there was a brief gap in her record, and by the time she reappeared, she had joined Griffin under the name KSBK. After joining Griffin, KSBK seems to have undergone multiple frame changes and there are inexplicable blanks in her neural cloud data. Frankly speaking, even though KSBK has excellent combat capabilities and a flawless service record, given her excessive emotionality and extreme neural cloud instability, it might be very difficult for her to... So you're saying that Defh isn't qualified for the job? Log. The interviewer ceased speaking at this point. The recorder sensed tension in the air and activated the silent alarm under the table per protocol. I did not speak up when you first took a patronizing attitude to Dushebene. Do not mistake that for me condoning your attitude towards her. You are not the judges of Dushebene's worth. I know her abilities and potential better than anyone else. You have no right to judge her. I simply wish to point out that with your abilities, you could have... It seems that not only do you not understand Griffin, you don't understand Griffin or me for that matter. DP-12 picks up the tactical fountain pen on the table used for signing documents and drives it through the table. Oh, less than a millimeter away from the interviewer's hand. The silent alarm screen displays signal terminated. It makes no further response. I'm sorry, my hand slipped. I sincerely hope that you will not regret underestimating Dushebene when the next round of Griffin overall internal rankings are released. Interview log concludes. Attachment, post-interview analysis. Evaluation subject, DP-12. Personality profile, intellect, extremely high. Possesses extraordinary logical analysis and tactical planning ability. Psychological state, extremely stable. Able to maintain absolute calm and rationality under massive pressure. Skilled at disassembling to hide her true intentions. Core motivations, completely loyal to the commander and her companion KSBK. The fundamental driving force for all her actions lies in ensuring KSBK's safety and her own personal wishes. Subject demonstrates overall ability far surpassing the average tactical doll, including but not limited to interfacing with secure electronic systems via tremendously skillful electronic warfare methods. From past combat records, the subject's fighting style is highly precise, lethal, and threatening. It is strongly advised to avoid any form of direct physical contact. Suggested measures. Any future transfers, negotiations, or mission assignments should jointly involve KSBK to the greatest possible degree. Treating KSBK well is an effective way to obtain DP-12's cooperation and trust. After the Griffin overall ranking is announced, the pairing of DP-12 and KSBK is to be flagged as a top priority acquisition target. Mangi Security Internal Operation File. Filed by DP-12 Security Level Internal Archives Confidential. Part 1. After Action Report. Mission Type, Class C Protection Assignment. Protection Target, Corp Executive. Assign Units, Independent Doll Squad, DP-12 and KSBK. Rules of Engagement. Per company policy, use of lethal weaponry was forbidden. Non-lethal baton rounds and standard protective gear were issued. Mission Timeline, 8 o'clock. Target arrived at designated start point. Citing safety protocol, target refused to share vehicle with dolls and boarded a vehicle, black bulletproof sedan with 2 human bodyguards. Ally units followed in a vehicle. 8:13. Detected unknown vehicle tailing the motorcade. Per standard defense protocol, the main vehicle was warned via encrypted transmission. 8:14. Main vehicle terminated communications on their end. 8:23. Main vehicle was guided to a safe zone. Ally units engage hostile forces with the intention of suppressing the opposition and removing the threat to the protection target. 8:30. All hostile forces were non-lethally disabled and disarmed. Hostile casualties, 0.0 deaths, 13 incapacitated. 8:55. Target successfully reached designated safe area. 9 o'clock. Mission successfully concluded. Ally units began return to base. Mission results, primary objective, escort, and secondary objective, personal safety, both met. Mission accomplished. Reporter, DP-12. Part 2. Mission assessment. Viewing permission, class and up. Assessment summary. This mission was initially assessed as a Class C assignment and thus both equipment and support were severely limited. After combat conditions escalated, the actual threat level was assessed as Class B. The Doll Squad, DP-12 and KSBK managed to deliver outstanding tactical performance despite these unfavorable conditions. Performance analysis, mission completion time, tactical responsiveness and professional standards far exceed records set by all other independent doll units under the company. Effectiveness indicators are in the 75th percentile of human-based Mangi Security protection squads. The two dolls transferred from Griffin demonstrated extremely high asset value. Initial recommendations. These doll squad's internal grade should be immediately raised and they should be assigned more difficult missions in order to fully utilize their autonomous operational ability and maximize their asset value. Part 3, HQ Review and Orders, Viewing Permissions, Class and Above. Reviewer Commentary. The Assessment Department's promotion recommendation is approved. However, it should be noted that tactical DAL transfers from Griffin all demonstrate a great degree of initiative and self-determination. While this quality is an advantage at the tactical level, it represents a major source of instability at the management level. A DAL's capacity for independent thinking can easily lead to a disconnect with human employees and may lead to said DALs breaking free from organizational control. Promotion Permission. The raising of DP-12 and KSBK's internal grade is approved. Execute reorganization. In order to ensure Mangi Security's operational principles, consider splitting up the pair and assigning them to different human squads. The intention is to sever their excessively strong bond and reduce the risk of collusion and coordinated rebellion. Initiate monitoring. Both subjects are to be considered high-level monitoring targets, and their data access is to be closely monitored over a long period of evaluation. In order to avoid conflict with DP-12, monitoring will be restricted to her actions during missions and used to assess her loyalty and combat performance. In order to ensure she delivers maximum value and to gather data for the introduction of more high-level combat DALs. Contingent authorization. Should an emergency arise, such as clear and present desertion or insurgency, class and higher personnel are authorized to directly perform the neural purge protocol without waiting for standard approval in order to safeguard company asset safety. Last one. Mangi Security internal DAL file. Warning. File integrity verification failed. Document serial number. Mangi DAL 1 blank. Subject DP-12. Security level top secret. Asset history. Said asset was acquired from the former Griffin and Kreuger private military contractor. Records indicate that she was an elite tactical DAL with a high degree of autonomous tactical decision-making ability. After joining Mangi Security, she demonstrated operational efficiency and planning capabilities far exceeding expectations in numerous high-risk missions, resulting in consecutive upgrades to her personal grade. Mission history, sealed. Current status, discarded. Incident report. While carrying out Operation in the Yellow Zone, Asset DP-12 covered her squad's retreat by herself, but encountered a Boojum entity. Analysis of the last signals transmitted from battlefield recorders indicate that the asset was devoured by the entity and her frame signal was lost. Conclusion: unable to recover. Confirm was lost. Wait, what? Oh, this was the tampering. Yeah, this was the tampering on when DP-12 was already working with Lentine. Alright. A little bit of a background to all of the documents and topics that we're talking about during Anti-Parallel Part 1. Well,